Please be seated. Members of Court, graduands and colleagues, welcome to Heriot-Watt University for this graduation ceremony. This is one of the most important ceremonies in the university's calendar because today we celebrate the academic achievements and the scholarly successes of our students. I'd like to give a particularly warm welcome to those of you who have travelled long distances to join us today. I wish you all a most enjoyable day at this truly international gathering. I now call upon the Reverend Dr. Alistair Donald to open the proceedings.
As many here today will know, the Chaplaincy Centre on the campus gives a warm welcome to students and staff of all faiths and none, and for some years now has been recognised as one of the leading places on the campus for multicultural engagement. So it's in that spirit that I now invite all who wish to do so to join with me in prayer. Almighty and everlasting God, before whom all hearts are open and all desires known, we are grateful to pause on this special day in our lives before you for a word of prayer. We remember that you are the great mind behind matter, architect of this vast universe and of our small but wonderful world, yet one for whom not even a sparrow falls to the ground unnoticed. Today we gather from many nations, continents, languages and cultures, north and south, east and west, united in the international community of Heriot-Watt University and in glad celebration today of knowledge and achievement. Thanking you for the privilege of developing our gifts through study, learning to manage resources and organisations for the benefit of all, we do acknowledge that many of us here are only here because of the sacrifices made by our families or other supporters, that we might have a good education and be free to pursue the gifts you have given us. And so we give thanks for our supporters, our teachers, and also for the friends that we've made here who've accompanied us on the long and sometimes hard path of study, helping us on our way. Knowing that we live in a beautiful world but also a troubled one, where in this very week the economies of nations are seen to be held in the balance, we do pray that you would help us to apply our ingenuity to the greater benefit of the many rather than the few. Lord, hear these our prayers. Amen.
I now call upon Mr. Amos Hanif of the School of Management and Languages to present the honorary graduand.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Engineering, Sir Ian Wood, CBE. It is difficult to describe Sir Ian in a single adjective. Businessman, entrepreneur, philanthropist, leader, visionary, Scotsman, Aberdonian, but not necessarily in that order. Through ambition, determination, opportunism, and a good dose of Scots caution, Sir Ian has transformed a family ship repair and fishing business into two of Scotland's most important companies. From its modest headquarters in Aberdeen, John Wood Group plc is the UK's largest oil and gas and power generation service provider. With annual revenue of over $6 billion, the multinational employs over 41,000 people in 50 different countries. JW Holdings Limited is one of the largest fishing groups in Scotland. employs over 200 people with annual revenue of over £20 million. Yet, Sir Ian's phenomenal career began almost by accident. He has certainly not intended to go into business. Indeed, his mother has set her sights much higher for her son and wanted him to become a professional. Ian himself was on the opinion that business people were soft, lived off the workers, and spent their time on the golf course. Therefore, in 1964, at the age of 22, Ian Wood graduated from Aberdeen University with a first-class honours degree in psychology. He had been offered an assistant lectureship and planned to pursue a PhD. However, due to the ill health of his father, Ian agreed to take a summer job in the family firm. His role involved greater responsibility than most student employment and was put in charge of the trawler operation. He soon changed his perception about business people. He put his academic careers on hold and agreed to stay and help his father for a period of a year. 3 years later, at the age of 26, Ian Wood became the managing director of John Wood & Son. Working a 16-hour day, he had already increased the fleet of trawlers from 6 to 20 and increased the workforce from 90 to 450. The following year, he moved into fish processing and then into general marine management. Fortunes changed again in 1969 when the first oil was struck in the North Sea. With the oil in Aberdeen came Texans in Stetson hats, who, according to Sir Ian, were a little patronising and would hand out crumbs from the local table to companies. Businesses were unaware of the changes ahead, and Sir Ian himself believed oil might only make a useful contribution to the turnover of the business. That changed in 1972, when on a trip to Houston, he had a eureka moment as he witnessed the potential impact the oil industry could have in Aberdeen and Scotland. He returned with vigour and a plan to build new facilities, form new companies, and employ more people. He acquired a shipyard in Torry for its location and increased the company's capacity by 75%. He invested and extended the range of services to include engineering, fabrication, fire protection, and logistics. Understanding the importance of marketing activities, he rented a stand at the first Aberdeen Oil Exhibition in 1975. When finding out the cost, his father exclaimed that in his day, he could have bought 2 fishing boats for that amount. "Do you really know what you're doing?" he asked his son. If Sir Ian did not know what he was doing, he did hide it well. Although he does admit, in hindsight, the company did enter the oil services business with inexperience but much bravado. 10 years later, it entered the US market in the same mode. The US now accounts for 40% of the company's business. Today, the John Wood Group is Scotland's most global company. It has expanded its services worldwide and is a leader within the oil and gas services and offshore energy industry. The group is not only economically and strategically important to the UK, but has become an employer of significance in Scotland and has employed many science, engineering and management students from Heriot University. More recently, the Heriot Executive MSc Strategic Project Management Programme has become an integral part of the Wood Group Project Management Academy, and we look forward to graduating the first Wood Group cohort at this ceremony in the next few years. Outside of the company activities, Sir Ian is involved in the business of venture philanthropy and community projects. He established the Wood Family Trust in 2007 with his wife Lady Helen Wood and younger son Gareth. Described as a Scottish-based charity with a global outlook, the Trust aims to invest £50 million in economic, community and enterprise activities in sub-Saharan Africa and in the UK, with the aim to develop and support young people to become independent, contributing and caring members of society. The charity is based on Sir Ian's strong belief that we are all world citizens. We benefit from the global world and therefore have a responsibility towards it. Projects include the improvement of the tea production value chain in Tanzania and Rwanda, which has so far improved the lives of over 40,000 people. One of the flagship programmes in Scotland is a youth philanthropy initiative, in which Scottish school pupils identify grassroots charities making a contribution to their community and present a business case on their behalf for a grant of £3,000. The Trust has already donated over £500,000 to this initiative alone. Many organisations have benefited from Sir Ian's leadership, expertise and advice. He is the Chancellor of Robert Gordon University, a role he takes very seriously. He's a member of the Scottish Energy Advisory Board. He's a member of Pilot, a joint government oil and gas initiative. He was joint chairman of the Oil and Gas Industry Leadership Team, chairman of the Scottish Enterprise Board and the British Trade International Oil and Gas Export Board, member of the Carnegie Trust for Universities in Scotland, and was the board member of the Royal Bank of Scotland Group, where he was described as a John Knox member for keeping a watchful eye on the board's spending. Despite abandoning a career in academia much earlier, he's been recognised with an honorary degree of Doctor of Laws from Aberdeen University, an honorary degree of Doctor of Business Administration from Robert Gordon University, and an honorary degree of Doctor of Technology from Glasgow Caledonian University. Indeed, it would appear that Sir Ian has spent the last 33 years attending award ceremonies. In 1979, he was awarded Grampian Industrial of the Year. Since then, he has achieved Young Scottish Businessman of the Year, the Free Enterprise Award, Corporate Elite Leadership Award, Corporate Elite World Player Award, Chief Executive of the Year, Entrepreneurial Exchange Philanthropist of the Year, inducted into Offshore Energy Centre's Hall of Fame, awarded the Energy Institute's Cadman Medal, and has received the SCDI President's Award. Furthermore, or should I say incidentally, he was awarded a CBE in 1982 New Year's Honours List and a knighthood in 1994. Sir Ian accredits the success of his business to having good quality people within the organisation. He accredits his success to his rock, Lady Helen Wood, who we very much welcome to the university today. At almost 70 years of age, Sir Ian feels he's too young to retire. And there's no sign of him doing so. Although now he's a grandfather of 6, he now only works 6 days a week. Like his father before him, Sir Ian is very proud of his sons, Nick, Graham and Gareth, but unlike their father, they have not followed in the family business, instead becoming successful entrepreneurs in the hospitality industry. Whether it's representing his business, the charitable trust, or the UK oil and gas industry, Sir Ian travels around the world as a global ambassador for Scotland. He is a remarkable man and truly inspirational. Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the university and by the authority of the Senate, in recognition of his outstanding entrepreneurship and leadership in the advancement and economic development of oil and gas services and offshore engineering, I call upon you to confer the honorary degree of Doctor of Engineering on Sir Ian Wood, CBE.
Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, university staff, and probably most important, my fellow graduates and their families and friends. I think the first thing I should say is it's incredibly embarrassing to stand up for 5 minutes and hear that kind of recourse of your career. I recognise some of it, but not all of it. I'm very proud to be an honorary graduate of this very fine university, and thank you most sincerely for according me the honour. Secondly, can I warmly congratulate all my fellow graduates. This is a very proud red-letter day in your lives. And also, let's not forget the congratulations due to the mums and dads and the families, many of whom I suspect dreamt of this event and wondered if it would ever really happen. Well, it has. And all of you new graduates are about to enter a very exciting, fast-changing world. Just briefly consider some of the challenges you're going to meet. Right up front, European financial instability, which means countries in trouble, banks in trouble, and leading to all of us in trouble. And there's huge shifts in the balance of economic power between the so-called developed nations and the emerging nations. and China now clearly ranks alongside the US as the world's most influential economy. And there's a relatively new phenomenon which has been called the Arab Spring, almost like a wave of political and civil unrest among the countries in the Arabian Gulf and North Africa. Right now it's Syria, possibly spreading into Lebanon, and a very uncertain Egypt. And there will be further political change in these regions in the next 5 years. And for the first time in our planet's history, man appears capable of seriously damaging our environment and ecosystem. We've become addicted to easily available cheap energy. And with our world population still growing by 250,000 each day, and with the emerging countries set to vastly increase their per capita energy consumption, meeting the world's energy needs will be a major challenge in this century. And finally, in addition to the political and civil unrest in some countries, religious and racial strife with terrorism and major acts of violence are now almost everyday events in many countries. And very unwillingly and sadly, I am accompanied by bodyguards in 5 of the countries I visit around the world. And alongside all of this, there continues to be appalling inequities in health, wealth and opportunity, with almost half our world population still living on less than $2 a day. Many of these problems exist because my generation really ignored the concept of global responsibility and failed miserably in the challenge of enhancing the harmony, prosperity, and well-being of mankind. It's not that we don't care. Most people do care. It's that we see the problem as too complex and somehow not really relevant to us. We persuade ourselves we can't do anything about it, when that's simply not true. My fervent hope is that your generation will be different, and you will do something. So let me finish with some advice for your career progress and your potential contribution to this troubled world. Firstly, in a world which is evolving so quickly, you must be disposed to and proact to change. If your work and business environment doesn't undergo some problem, some potential challenge of change, and you're not seeking challenge and change and opportunity, then you're probably going backwards. So you must continually look for doing things differently. Secondly, and it's something that's generally not highlighted enough in business education, your ability to work with, motivate, and get the best out of the people, your colleagues, will be your key differentiation. Discipline yourself to have insight into your own behavior in dealing with others, when and how to lead, when and how to play the team game. Over the years in developing Wood Group, I would say, and this is not an exaggeration, half my conversations with my colleagues are about people. Problems more often than not solved by changing the leadership or composition of the teams. Thirdly, don't assume it's a fair world out there. Bill Gates speaks of 11 life unfairness rules which should be compulsory reading for young people. Just one example, rule number 10, be nice to nerds. Chances are you'll end up working for one. So don't get indignant and lose the place when you come up against the world's injustices. Be pragmatic. Plan and work your way through the real world as it is, warts and all. Don't waste your time recriminating about the what-ifs of the past. Concentrate on the what-ifs in the future as you work your way towards realizing your full potential. Fourthly, don't be a spectator. Most of the things that have gone wrong in our world have happened because good people stood back and let them happen. Be prepared to become involved, show passion, show initiative, and where the challenge presents itself, show leadership. As from today, you're no longer a spectator. You're graduating into the real world, and you're now endorsed and engaged as a player. Fifthly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. I've certainly lost count of the number of mistakes I've made in my business career. The key thing is to recognize quickly that you've got it wrong and rectify it. Don't ever hide from and try and ignore your mistakes. You'll just compound them. Some failure in life is inevitable, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. Sixthly, this is a global world, and you must think global. Three of the biggest problems we currently face in our country, the economic financial crisis, the availability of energy, and the danger to our environment, these are global problems which need global solutions. Scotland, or whichever country you deem as